Hey everybody, and welcome to the Mental Toughness and Body Show. My name is Rob Evans and I'm your weight loss coach, health strategist and internationally published author, helping take your life, your business, your health, fitness, mindset and body from where you are right now to where it is that you truly want to be. And today's topic is going to be about mindset. I want to talk to you about the concept of seasonal focus. What I'm talking about here is that many people, when it comes to your health and your wellness, only are focused at certain seasons of the year. So we have some very distinct seasons here in my home state of Melbourne, Australia. Summer, autumn, winter, spring. Sometimes we get them all in the one day. And if any of you have spent much time in Melbourne, Australia, you'll know what I'm talking about. But we do have distinct seasons. Now we are in the later part of autumn, about to hit winter in a couple of weeks' time. Now it's getting colder and colder. The temperatures that we get, it was 2 degrees here on Saturday morning at 5 a.m. when I was up. Today, right now, it's early in the morning, but it's 6 degrees right now. But we can get minus 4 degrees for a few times of the year, and it's just cold. And if we get the wind, it can be really quite cold. But of course, there are many places that are way colder than the way that we get it. But anyway, I'm just putting that in perspective for you. So what normally happens in my part of the world is that when it gets colder, what do people do? They stop moving as much. They start eating bigger meals. They start hibernating like bears and covering themselves up and not worrying about the way that they look or their health until later in the year. And when it normally happens here, it's around September, October, when the weather starts to warm up and people are like, oh, it's springtime now, maybe I should do something about looking after my body because summer's coming up, we're going on a beach holiday, somebody's getting married, we're doing whatever, and you're going to show off your body a bit. Sound familiar? I'm sure in your part of the world maybe this happens as well. Maybe it happens to you, maybe you know people that it happens to. I call it seasonal focus because they're not focused all year round. Now if you look at success in any part of any area of your life, you can't just focus on it for a little bit of time and expect it to be okay all of the time. If you look at, say, high-performing sports teams, okay, so right now, at the time of recording this, the Giro d'Italia is on. If you don't know what that is, it's one of the grand tours they have in cycling. It's like the Tour de France. The Tour de France is like the pinnacle. It's like the Olympics of road cycling. They have 3 main tours. There's the Tour of Spain, the Tour of Italy, and Tour of France. And the Giro d'Italia is on right now. Now, it's May, the Tour de France is on in July, and then it's called La Vuelta, which is the Tour of Spain. That's in September, later in the year. Now, even though they are the main races, they have a whole bunch of other, like one-day races, one-day classics they call them. They have a bunch of like 5-day races and stuff that are leading up to the Tour de France, and they have a number of international meets as well. Outside of competition, do you think they just stop? No, they're still training. They're training every day. They might have some small periods of times where they're not riding, but even on a rest day of the Tour de France, they're still riding a couple of 100 kilometres or 150 kilometres or so each day because they need to keep their legs going. They can't just say, okay, well, we're just going to come out and ride those 3 races. It's the same with sports teams. They have an in-season, they have an off-season. They might have a few weeks where they're not doing anything, but then they're straight back into the gym. They're still watching what it is that they're eating. They're still training. They're meeting with their mates to train, etc. It's full on. It's their profession. Now, what we need to do is adopt the professional athlete mindset into how we look after ourselves. Now, you don't have to train as hard as them. You're not going to have the same ability as them. You're not going to do the same things as them, but you can certainly have the same mindset in knowing that, okay, here is a great example. As we head into winter, and most people do less activity, they become less focused, they eat more food, more high-calorie food, at a time when the immune system is under fire, and also with COVID around doesn't help, but people have less focus on it. It doesn't make sense. You would think during winter, if anything, you want to be more focused because your immune system is going to take a bit of a hit because there is so much cold and flu stuff around and other bugs as well that you want to keep your immune system strong so you don't fall victim to it. And yet, as we get older and older, people still tend to do the same thing and not be focused on it. But I know that that's not going to be you because you're listening to this right now. You're in that top 1%. You're wanting to get into that top 1% of health for you, for your age. And I think that is a fantastic goal to head for. And you might be saying, I got no interest in that. Well, that's fine. For me, that's important to me. I want to be in the top 1% of health for my age group. That means lean, low body fat, but it also means that I want to look after the way that I look. But my inner health, I want it to be strong. I don't want to look good and get up each morning and feel like I'm dragging my butt, feel like I've got no energy, feel like I can't focus on the things that I want to focus on. That's not going to work for me. I want to have the energy and the health so that I can do it all. The looking good part is just something that I continue to work on because I'm driven by that. But I do it every day, 365 or 366 days a year if it's a leap year. That's how focused I am. I strongly encourage you to not just be a seasonal focused health person. You can get so much more out of yourself when you are healthy, vibrant, energized. You will focus more, you'll just get more done. You'll be more self-confident, you'll be happier. You'll find that the energy that you have crosses multiple dimensions in your life. The trouble is that I talk about it and you may be listening to this right now and you're thinking blah, 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 blah. But if you've never been in that position where you have been truly happy with your health and had a real experience with that extra boost of energy, it is hard to relate to what I'm talking about. But if you have a little faith and you can understand that, well, that makes sense. If I took better care of myself, if I was stronger, if I felt better about what I was doing, if I was healthier, then I would have more energy, then I would like to experience that. Then have faith that the things that I teach you work, because they do work every single time. If you're not feeling the difference, then maybe you haven't been doing it correctly, maybe you haven't been doing it for the long enough time, but you will get the benefit. And because you live with yourself all the time, sometimes it is hard to compare one day to the next and say, well, I felt like this today. I felt so much better tomorrow. Normally that only happens if you've been so unwell and maybe you've thrown up today, but you didn't throw up tomorrow, and you're like, I feel way better than yesterday. But these are incremental changes that you feel where you find that your mindset is just sharper. You've got that more energy, you're more focused, and maybe you sit back one day and you look back and say, actually, I'm doing way more than I was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a month, 6 months ago, whatever it is. All these things are benefits from taking care of yourself 24/7, 365 days a year. But I understand that not everybody can do that straight away. And when people come to work with me, I have people that work with me and then They will achieve what it is that they want to achieve. They'll go away and do things on their own. I might catch up with them years later just because I passed them somewhere or they reach out to me. And somewhere along the way, they've fallen back into old habits. It's not uncommon for people to fall back into old habits. Why is that? Well, it's because they haven't truly changed their mindset around what it is that they're doing. So many people are focused on what they look like. And yes, having a great body, feeling good about the way that you look is really important. It's why I got started into this industry to begin with, because I had a horrible self-image of myself. The physical me wasn't good. But after years of training, I realized that, well, actually, what I really need to change is the inner me, my mindset and how I saw myself. Now, that's not to say that if you're overweight and you really do need to lose weight for your health and your self-confidence and everything, and you make up a story for yourself as to why you just justify why you are where you are. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about honest communication with yourself to say, well, not just to accept the fact that you're a plus-size person, but to accept the fact that you need to do better in terms of looking after your health and your wellness, because at some point you're going to have a health crisis in your life if you don't focus on it. So today I'm just encouraging you to think more holistically about how it is that you look after yourself. And as we go into winter, some people will be coming out of their springtime and going into summer. It's still relevant, because what I see happens here in summertime is that people then move into that party zone and they're having too much food, too much alcohol. It's just different type of food, but they're doing it differently, than they would in winter. It's the same sort of issue. It's just you're just wearing less clothes now. And one of the things that I often find with when I'm coaching clients and they want to have a real transformation, and you ask them about their friends and who are the people that they hang out with. And most of the time, if somebody is really overweight and they drastically want to change, normally all their friends and family are also the same way. And why is that? Well, I guess we tend to be drawn to people that are like us. Not in every case, but in some cases. If you're not prepared to challenge that, sometimes it's hard to step outside that. And then if you start to change, a lot of people within your inner circle don't want to see you change, because then they feel threatened about who they are and what their identity is. It sounds really sad, but it's often true. People don't want us to change. They don't want us to be better than them. It just challenges many people on a lot of levels. But don't be like that, okay? If you really need to make a change in your life, for your health and wellness, then you've got to do this for you. Don't do it for anyone else. Don't do it for your partner. Don't do it for your kids. Do it for yourself first. And then the byproducts, benefits, and beneficiaries, if you like, of the process are going to be those other people. But you must do it for you. I just encourage you today to think about what can you be doing 24/7, what can you be doing 365 days a year, what can you be doing better, what can you be doing more of to take better care of yourself so that it's not just a seasonal thing that you do. And if you're listening to this for the first time and you're saying to yourself, well, yeah, I've never really done any of the things that you're talking about. I've never really followed a healthy meal plan. I kind of just eat some salads here and there, and I think that I'm doing okay. If you've never lifted weights, you've never had a structured program, you've never had a structured cardiovascular program, you've never had a complete plan to put everything together so that you can go through each day with confidence, then don't be shut off to the idea that maybe now I should. It's never too late to start making improvements in your health. And if nothing else, opting in for a free consultation with me at thementaltoughnessandbodyshow.com. It's completely free. And us having a discussion about what it is that you're doing right now may just give you that affirmation that you need, that, yeah, actually you're on the right path. Or maybe if you tweaked this here a little bit. In some ways it's very simple, in other ways it can be complicated for people. What I do is demystify everything, supplementation, how much fish oil you should be taking, even if that's right for you, any other supplements that perhaps you should be taking to top up your existing nutrition, how much water, how much sleep, all of those things, they all piece together to make the healthy version of you 24/7, 365 days a year, so that you can get through things like winter, you can get through things like COVID because you've got a strong immune system. It's because you're focused. Don't become a seasonally focused health individual. We can do it smarter, we can do it better, and you'll have amazing outcomes as a result. Opt in for that free consultation. Let's connect. Let's make 2021 your healthiest year yet. See you tomorrow.